we're going to talk about something cool. I hope that you're ready. It is right after lunch. But yeah, pay attention. It's supposed to go like smooth. Hey, tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. It's not going to be like that. Just telling you, it's not going to be like that. We're going to introduce Tanzu Platform Cloud Foundry's small footprint. My name is DaShaun Carter. I'm a Spring Developer Advocate. I love my job, and I am jazzed to be here. If you couldn't tell by the walking music, today is day 1242. I've done some other things, but Nick is not the only one that has a basement. I, too, have a basement, and in my basement, I have compute, but I don't have cloud money. I have Raspberry Pi money. Maybe that'll change. Maybe the things that I put in my basement will change. Right now, there's 104 Raspberry Pis. But there's also 5 GMK Tech K11s and 4 Nooks. And Ampere Dev Kit, ARM64, 96 cores. I'm not bragging, a little. But that might change. Raspberry Pis might be a thing of the past because what I have today is special. I want to flash back to Cloud Foundry last year, if you were there. New York, there was a moment where James Waters stood up and he asked the question. He said, how many of those apps are multi-foundation? And Sergey said, all of them. All of them. And of course, I started clapping. That's exactly the way it's supposed to be, right? We're in this space. You can't shove everything into one foundation, right? We know that foundation is great. It's a great model. We can do this thing. But yeah, it's 2025, and maybe there's another step. Maybe there's something else. Maybe we want a little bit more. Have you ever wanted a little bit more? Have you ever wanted to deploy a foundation someplace else? I know I have, but I also have a basement. I have questions. How many foundations are we talking about? How many foundations? I know we have a couple of customers that have like hundreds of foundations, right? That's awesome, but they're all in data centers. They might not be exactly where they need to be. That's okay. Are they all sized the same? I know that's been a concern. Hey, we're just going to make the exact same foundation over here as we did over there, so then we can just choose the same VM types. Everything can be the same. That's easy to manage when everything's the same, isn't it? Or we kind of heard that from Deckel, right? Having that consistency, that's valuable. Are they in the same cloud? This is a problem that we don't have anymore. We don't have to be in the same cloud, but having those distinctions, where am I going to put my workloads? How far are these foundations away from your customers? That is the new question, right? I just came back. I was in Europe not too long ago, and I don't know, there's a little bit of movement. Like, maybe we don't want all of our data in the United States. I'm just saying, I heard that. Where you're putting your apps, where you're putting your data, that matters. And maybe right now, some of you are thinking like, have I made the right decisions? And it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to change your mind. I just want to give you a couple more options. I want you to know that you have more options. Customers are not all in, right? There's not a single customer that I know that's all in on mainframe, that's all in on VMs, all in on bare metal. They're not all in on any one thing. There's options. We all have options. Shout out to Julian. Good job. Clutch. Hey, let's connect the dots a little bit. But also, Deckel's talk, this golden path. I have this belief that our apps, our pipeline for the apps that we're building our enterprises on top of, those need to be on one path, a golden path, if you will. And I don't care where they land, but I want all those apps to come through the same compliance, security checks, validation. I want them all to go through the same path so that if I have a new zone, I have a new deployment model, I'm going to deploy stuff into space, right? I still want everything to get the same validation, go through the same pipelines. That's not too much to ask. I think it's simpler. Edge, what do I say when I mean edge? What do I mean when I say edge? Anything that's not a traditional data center, anything that's not in the cloud. There's a lot of need for data. There's a lot of need for where our apps are going to run. And, right, applications are moving closer to users all the time. So when I say edge, I just mean not traditional data center, not in the cloud. Make sense? Head nods? We're awake? Awesome. One of the things that I hear working with customers, one of the things that we've all heard, like there's some pain, right? There's reasons that I don't have my workloads everywhere they need to be. There's reasons that I'm dealing with the extra latency or the extra hops between very important workload and very important data. Too much platform overhead. Sometimes it's big. Most of us understand Cloud Foundry. We can kind of picture the Cloud Foundry model in our head. We know that it's not for mere mortals, but once it's running, anybody can use it, right? Powerful, powerful abstractions. This lifecycle management. When you're not running on Cloud Foundry, when you're running on mainframe, we've all heard the conversations of, oh, we don't want to touch it, right? It's not broke, let's not fix it. We heard that earlier today. Sometimes it's not as easy to change things once they've been deployed, just priority-wise, right? We have a lot of things that we're worrying about. And the more difference that I have, the 406 different ways I have to deploy an app, man, that makes things complicated. If I can simplify that, if I can have a golden path for my apps, and I can have fewer decisions to make when I actually deploy those apps, that makes my life easier. Even if I'm just an app dev, that makes my life easier. As an app dev, I really don't care where it lands. Just get it to production, I don't care how. Right, make it run. This is valid, right? Agree? Latency is still the new downtime. I said it before, I'll say it again. Latency is still the new downtime. So the difference between where your apps are, where your customers are, and where your data is, that matters. Milliseconds matter. Chorus talk on the optimizing the Java workloads. I'm a big fan of all of those changes. The faster startup time so we can scale our apps up and down. That matters. The performance matters. Thank you, Java. Thank you, team at Oracle, for giving us a new Java every 6 months. But keeping up with those changes, keeping up with the advancements, that's an important part of what we need to do. And now we're getting advantages of all those milliseconds saved. Why are we still having our workloads thousands of miles away from where our customers are? Why are we still comfortable with all of that extra latency, the extra hops between our workloads and our data? I'm lucky. It was powerful for me to have a customer that was in healthcare. The example that we used when we were talking about Cloud Foundry and the importance of Cloud Foundry was a fetal heart rate monitor inside of the hospital. All of that data was being sent to Cloud Foundry. Those milliseconds matter when there's a fetal heart rate monitor on the other side. It just makes you think about things a little bit differently. Latency is still the new downtime. What if we could, on a single node, have all of these amazing things? The CF push, the CF marketplace, CF bind. What if we could have all of that without the foundation? When I say foundation, the weight of the foundation that we're all comfortable with, that we all understand. And the 3 R's. I added that just for you. What if, right? This is the picture that's in my head. Multi-foundation, multi-cloud, that's been a thing. That's been a thing for me for a long time, where customers were doing that and they loved it because they didn't have to have a Google expert. They didn't have to have an AWS expert. That abstraction that Cloud Foundry provides across whatever cloud you're running on, that was enough. That was enough. The CPI took care of it for us. So we could have workloads in data center 1, in data center 2, in hyperscaler cloud number 1, hyperscaler cloud number 2. What I would like to add to that is, what about that hospital in Bottineau, North Dakota that has a fetal heart rate monitor on it, where they're 300 miles away from the nearest cancer expert? Maybe that's an option. Maybe that's someplace that we could take these foundations. Maybe we could, if we could fit it on a small enough workload. So what I'd like to say is the edge today, it's not a constraint, it's just a context. It's just another place where we're deploying our workloads, where we have needs, right? We're all trying to help our customers, help our company, save money, make money, save time. The edge is just a context. How many have heard Cloud Foundry? Cloud Foundry is a thing, and I'm glad that we're here. Just remember, Cloud Foundry is a thing. We have this option, and if you're here, I assume that you're having fun with it, that it's doing good things for you and your company, and maybe you would like to do it more. But how much should it cost? I'm going to tell some stories. I've got time. I've got an extra 5 minutes, I'd heard. My journey on Cloud Foundry was, company had it, is in another line of business. Some of us have been there like, oh, that sounds amazing. I'm doing Spring Boot. I would love to be over there. But it was a different line of business. We didn't have access to it. We could hear about it at lunch. We could hear about you bragging about, oh, CF Push is the best. I got to deploy a single app to a single VM because that's all I had access to. But the access, the cost, like what should it cost? Like how much, how high should that barrier be to get there? And how much should it cost to operate and maintain? Right, getting there is one thing, but then the maintenance, how hard should it be to maintain? How much should it cost to maintain a foundation? If you are aware of any of the fintech around or the FinOps around your foundations, think just for a minute, how much does it cost to operate a foundation? How much does it cost to maintain that foundation? How many people? Right, it's always been one of the great stories. We had a team of 4 engineers that are running 3 foundations that have tens of thousands of AIs running, hundreds of data services running, and it's being managed by 4 people. That's powerful. But just think for a minute, what does that cost? What does it cost to maintain? And now we've heard AI, I gotta say it. It's a conference, it's 2025, I have to say AI. How do you make GPU available to the applications that are on your platform? How are you doing it? Painfully, right? It's not easy. Wouldn't it be awesome if while we're addressing all of these other concerns, these other questions, wouldn't it be awesome if we could also make GPU available easily on our platform? I'm just asking questions. I maybe have one answer for all of these questions, but right now I'm just asking questions. Tens of thousands of apps, no problem whatsoever. Could you get one app deployed to Bottineau, North Dakota? If the need arose, could you get one app deployed today? How would you do it? Would you send a Raspberry Pi? Would you send a NUC? Would you send a set of NUCs? What would you do? Would you put it in the cloud? Would you make a new region in the cloud for that one workload that needs to happen in Bottineau, North Dakota? What would you do? I know what I would do. Right, we have options today. That's what I'm here to talk about, is we have a new option. And I want you to fully consider this option. Cloud Foundry sounds great. Another story, right? I used to be out there working with customers saying like, hey, this is awesome. You should try it. Watch this, CF Push. It's amazing. CF Marketplace, CF Create Service. I had a room, more people in the room than this, where we all did CF Create Service, leader follower pair at the same time. That's awesome, right? That's in minutes, instances, databases, in the cloud, the private cloud, right? That's what we did. And you can have that. The problem that I ran into is being a developer, is like, oh yeah, that sounds great. Can I run it on my laptop? How many people have wanted to run Cloud Foundry on their laptop? Oh yeah, you are my people. Right? That has been a dream. I've done all the things from Lattice to CF Dev to PCF Dev all the way up. Like, wouldn't it be nice to just have a small foundation, a small place where we could CF push? Maybe not production, maybe not in the data center, not in the cloud. Wouldn't it be nice to just have a small foundation where we could have all these benefits? Stand up databases, tear them down, deploy workloads, validate. Wouldn't that be nice? I think it would be nice. I too want my own Cloud Foundry. It's a simple ask. This is my friend Keith. I hope Keith is watching on the live stream. Keith has spent a lot of time, months, years probably, working on this idea of, I'm a big fan of an easy button deployment. You can have all the technology, hey, this is great, and it'll deploy your workloads to the satellites in the cloud, but if you don't have an easy button, it's hard. So Keith spent some time, and I've spent some time really enjoying it, just a little script that allows you, this is a public repository, take a picture, allows you to deploy Cloud Foundry to your environment. But a small footprint, this new product, small footprint, deploy your own Cloud Foundry, have all the benefits of Cloud Foundry in your data center, in your basement. This is in my basement, right? There's a lot of servers that look just like this one, but this one's mine. And last week, Nick helped me out. I spent a little bit of time getting this vCenter environment up and running. It's been a while. It took me a while to remember all the things that go along with vCenter administration, but I got there, right? The benefit of Keith's script, his quick start script, is that it makes it really easy. These are the things you need to know. So as I'm standing up my vCenter, I plugged in those values, and I knew those values. It was 10 or 12 items is all you need. But that one machine, it's got 96 gigs of RAM. It's a GMK Tech K11. It's $479, I think, bare bones. I bought the 96 gigs of RAM kit, 248 gigs sticks, and then I bought a 2 terabyte SSD. That's it. Less than $1,000. But right now, that's running Cloud Foundry. I know, you're jealous. I know. This is the install script. Down here it says, hey, this took 154 minutes to run it. So that's deploying all the tiles, 154 minutes. I did another one. This was on the 8th, whatever day that was, Thursday. On Friday and Saturday, I did an unboxing. So I took that same thing from the moment I unboxed it to installing the SSD, to installing the memory, to having a Cloud Foundry running, 3 hours and 15 minutes. 3 hours and 15 minutes. The last time that you deployed a Cloud Foundry foundation, how long did it take you? Longer than that. Back in 2020, I had scripts that would, run. We had access to the 3 clouds, and I had my home lab. And every morning, what I would do is I would go stand up a foundation and then tear it down. I would pull all the latest tiles. I had a little cache, but I'd pull the latest tiles, make sure I'm running the latest and greatest. But I did it every single day in every single cloud. 4 of them. And it took a while. I iterated on that process. But that process, even running in the cloud on the latest and greatest VMs, it took 4 hours. On the fastest cloud, it took 4 hours to stand up, validate a Cloud Foundry foundation, and tear it down. So I was really impressed when I could go from right off of Amazon's shipment to unbox it to running Cloud Foundry. What a world we live in. This is my basement. This is my Cloud Foundation. I'm running here. I'm just showing, hey, I got my DaShaun work org. I'm in my production space. I showed my CF Marketplace. Here, I've got the Gen AI tile. I can stand up Gen AI workloads like we saw earlier. I can make GPUs available. So I can have GPUs. I've got an Oculink. That K11 has the Oculink connector, so I can connect an external GPU, and I can make it available to my workloads. This is cool. Doing that in the data center, that's a big deal, right? AI, GPUs, they're kind of a same conversation. So it's nice to be able to connect that dots. And I'm at that spot where I can connect those dots. And it's still Cloud Foundry. I still have all those great abstractions. I don't have to worry about it. I'm not a VI admin. I don't consider myself a VI. I've got a box that's running Cloud Foundry. I can deploy things. I can CF push. I can create databases. I can tear them down. This is a good thing. You might have teams in your organization where it might be valuable. It might be valuable maybe for an experiment. It might be worthwhile to invest in a off-the-shelf GPU, something that you can get at Micro Center. It might be valuable to, when you're exploring AI workloads, it might be valuable to make something available without having to break the bank, without having to go in and talk to procurement and get, oh yeah, we got to do it. We're going to need 50,000 of these by next year. Maybe there's another option. Maybe we don't have to, what do we call it, boil the ocean in order to do some of these nice experiments. But I'm not just talking about experiments. It's Cloud Foundry. It's production ready. We can do these things. It's the same operational efficiency. So when I'm updating, when I get a new tile, when I'm upgrading, when I'm repaving even, it's the same process, no matter where it's at. And what I'm saying is, whether it's in the data center, it's in the cloud, I want you to consider all the other places where you could put a Cloud Foundry foundation. If it was only on one box, where could you put these workloads? Consistency. That is the key. That is the nice abstraction. Golden path on the way. I don't care where it lands. Cloud Foundry, or a mainframe, or bare metal. Cloud Foundry, or a mainframe, right? Because Cloud Foundry, I can put it in the cloud, I can put it in my data center, and now I can put it in the edge. So I'm simplifying the options, not on my golden path, not my app, not how I package it, but how I deliver that app to where it needs to go. This is a big deal. And today, you can do it. You have an option. Exactly what it needs, no more, no less. Remember I asked, what if it was just one app? What if there's just one app? What if it's a fetal heart rate monitor? How much should it take to get that out the door? How much should it take to run it? There's no DevOps engineer working in the hospital in Botno, North Dakota. I promise there's no DevOps engineer there. What does it take? Another use case is we've been hearing it for years. Customers don't want to operate and manage all of those different snowflakes. One use case in particular, oil platform. This one always sticks in me. Out on the oil platform, if you want to go and update something, if you have to go out and touch that hardware, $20,000 minimum. If I have to send somebody out to an oil platform, $20,000 is the minimum price. But if you've got something that can deliver the operational efficiency, handle the lifecycle management of everything, yeah, that's a totally different ballgame. That's a totally different ballgame. You understand, you're delivering Cloud Foundry at scale. You're taking care of lifecycle management. You're maintaining a foundation. Now imagine if you can maintain a foundation on an oil platform the exact same way. Cloud Foundry, logs, metrics, we're sitting everything on the exporter. We're in good shape. So we might even start to consider multi-foundation visibility when it's more than 3 or 5 or even 100, right? We have customers that have more office locations than there are Starbucks, right? When you start thinking of Cloud Foundry at that scale, it becomes really interesting. So let me tell you about Tanzu, platform for Cloud Foundry, small footprint. This is just a lightweight deployment. Less VMs fitting in a smaller footprint. Easier to manage. Still all the same power, all the same features, all the same benefit, just packaged a little bit different. There are limitations. It's a small footprint. You cannot run thousands of workloads on a small footprint, but you can provide access to something like a GPU or a fetal heart rate monitor. You can plug in different things to this environment. And I'm just saying you got more options on where you can deploy those environments. It's built for resource-constrained environments. It's built for when I don't want to deploy 80 VMs or 20 VMs. I can fit it into a small footprint. I can fit it into every retail store or every clinic. And I can manage it the same way that I run my enterprise-grade, production-ready foundations everywhere else. Consistency. And of course, you've got all the other benefits of Cloud Foundry, the developer experience. The key features, fast deployment. Even we had a version of this small runtime. We've had it for a while. It's just kind of grown. It's gotten some input. It's been improved over the years. And I'll be honest, when I was deploying the small footprint back in 2020, the small footprint actually took longer to deploy. That's not the case anymore. So not only have we repackaged it, resized it, made it better, it also, you get the benefits on the operations side. You would expect a smaller footprint deploys faster, repays faster, deploys tiles faster. You would expect that, and now you get that. Yep, small memory CPU. I gave you the specs. This is an amazing time to be a Cloud Foundry developer, Cloud Foundry operator. You have this option of running a small footprint wherever you need to be. Easily managed with Tanzu tooling. So, how many of you ever want to do a proof of concept with Cloud Foundry? I know I have. I have tons of customers. Cloud Foundry sounds great. Let's take it for a spin. The idea now, again, this is a production grade foundation, but it just takes less to get there. It takes less to go from 0 to Cloud Foundry Foundation. So you can do a POC in whatever data center or whatever edge or whatever retail store or whatever hospital you need to be in. You can do a deployment with a small investment. $1,000 off of Amazon to run a Cloud Foundry Foundation. Like, who was thinking that that was possible? I remember having to buy the laptop with 64 gigs of RAM back in 2016 so I could run PCF Dev locally. And boy, that was a pain. I'm going to flip over here. On my data center, in my basement, I deployed the pet clinic, and the pet clinic started up a little bit faster. And this is even an old version, started up a little bit faster in my data center. I'm not bragging or anything. I'm just saying. What? I cannot scale to 100. That was the response. No, I cannot scale to 100. This is a single node, but you know what? I deployed it fast, and it gets all the other benefits that go along with running workloads inside of Tanzu Cloud Foundry. My build packs have all the bells and whistles. This is a huge benefit. This is why I'm excited. No, I can't scale to 100. My basement is a budget basement. We'll call it budget. It's like US Central, right? But yeah, I deployed my workloads. Right? This is still Cloud Foundry all the way down. This is a benefit. This is an exciting time. And so much so, I thought that I was going to be deploying Cloud Foundry Foundation. I bought 5 of those nodes. Well, now I've got teammates. So now, with those same 5 nodes, instead of deploying Cloud Foundry Foundation, I can deploy 5 Cloud Foundry Foundations, 1 for everybody on my team, with the same investment. Like, that's great. It's a great time to be a Cloud Foundry developer, Cloud Foundry operator. Now, Tanzu to manage multi-foundation is absolutely a thing. I wasn't planning on talking about it. Oh, I mentioned you can get started with Gen AI. Well, of course. One of my character flaws is that I'm always changing my talks right up until the minute of the talk. So I have my IntelliJ idea open, and I'm making changes. This is how I live my life, on the edge. I also get native image support. I can do these things. I can get all the benefits that are included in the build packs in this small foundation. Thanks, Cora. You want this. You want developer experience. You want platform security, right? All of the bells and whistles, all of the certifications that we can do on Cloud Foundry, we can do it on the small footprint. Operational simplicity, and it's right-sized. It's right-sized. In order to get the Cloud Foundry experience, you don't have to deploy to that one data center that has a Cloud Foundry foundation in your line of business. Those days are gone. You can deploy Cloud Foundry wherever you want to. And if anybody gives you any guff, you send them to me. You do not want infrastructure complexity. You don't want bloated runtime. You don't want snowflakes. That's one of the things about being on the edge, the workloads that you're deploying. It's like, how do I make it consistent? This is it. This is the consistency that I was looking for. Whether I'm on the edge or in the data center, this is the consistency that I want. And the difference between the Raspberry Pis that I might deploy in a cluster, the difference between those Raspberry Pis and that Cloud Foundry foundation in cost, the purchase cost, that starting cost is minimal. It's minimal. The operational costs that I mentioned, that's the big kicker. If you're here, if you love Cloud Foundry, like, you get it. Operating Cloud Foundry is easy. We've been doing it for a long time, right? Maintaining Cloud Foundry, lifecycle management of Cloud Foundry is much easier than a cluster of Raspberry Pis. I'm just saying. And that's what you want. Of course I did this right after Deckel said I was gonna. Multi-foundation, it opens up the door. I mentioned already that as a developer, I really don't care where my app is going. Sometimes I want constraints. Sometimes I want that app only to go to the location that has a fetal heart rate monitor. But that shouldn't be a decision that I have to make. After my app has been packaged and certified and secured and optimized by the build packs, take that app where it needs to go. There shouldn't be any difference if I'm going to deploy it to a Cloud Foundry foundation, to a mainframe, to bare metal. I should be able to use that same artifact that's been validated, certified. I should be able to take it wherever it needs to go. Those decisions should be handled by the platform. CF target, CF push. Amen. That's what I'm talking about. So the picture, the vision, the way that you think, you have mainframes, you've got edge, you've got bare metal, you've got machines under somebody's desk, because that was me. You've got machines somewhere. Wouldn't it be nice to have a more consistent model? Wouldn't it be nice to be able to deploy the workloads where they needed to go? And that's what I'm here to tell you. You can do that today. My children will still never deploy active passive. Gregory, that's the only thing that Gregory didn't touch on is active, active, that's the way to go. You brush your teeth, you make your bed, active, active. And on the edge, we can do that, right? There are workloads where I need that data fast. I need it replicated. I need to have access to the latest and greatest data, but the latency matters. I can deliver with Cloud Foundry, with Tanzu data. I can deliver active, active so that every edge location has the exact same copy of the data separated by milliseconds. That's what Gemfire does. Active, active around the globe. How valuable is that? Can you think of a use case where that would be nice? To have active, active data where all of your customers are. I know I can. My name is DaShaun Carter. I'm a Spring Developer Advocate, and I love my job, and I'm jazzed to be here. If you've got questions, maybe I have answers. Thank you. I will happily take questions. Happily take questions. All right, yes. Is it working now on ARM? Thank you for asking that question because I wasn't gonna ask that question. But since you brought it up, no, it's not working on ARM yet. It's not working on ARM yet. But we can dream, right? The reason, right? GPUs, right? Efficiency, data center efficiency. I work for a company called Broadcom. Broadcom cares about the data center, and we want you to have an efficient data center. So maybe someday soon, yeah, we'll see that. But yeah, great question, because my mind is there too. Any other questions? If not, thank you so much. Where did I get these shoes? My son picked these out. These are Puma Mellows. Thank you for asking. All right. Thank you so much for your time.